Welcome back, everyone, to Robb's Daily Classics on a snowy Sunday morning. We're going to be looking at a lot of cars today. I found this 1987 Mercedes-Benz 560 SL in New York, in 5 boroughs of New York, I think the Bronx or Queens. And it's on eBay, of all places. I haven't been on eBay in a long time, and I'll tell you why. And let's go check this interesting car out, folks. It's a 1987 good year. Great year, actually. The 560 SL with the 5.6 liter V8 engine is the way to go. I mean, you can find other cars out there. You can find cars that are the car originally came with the 4.5 liter. The backstory on this car is basically they call it the R107. It came from 71 to 89. It was the first time the SL had a V8 engine, which was really cool for the United States. They came out, the first early SL was badged here in the United States, the 350 SL. You don't see many of those, but it actually had the 4.5 liter V8 engine, and that was exclusive for the United States market. And then the Malaise era, things happened where, things got boring, and the 3.8 liter V8 came out. Nice little engine, some problems as well, but the 380 SL, I had one. They were really nice. I had two 560 SLs. I had an 89 and an 87 this model year. I got to know these really well. I think in 85, Mercedes was one of the first to introduce airbags in cars, and this SL was one of the first ones to get airbags. They also had the SLC, which was the coupe version of this car, which was really cool. It was actually a 4-seater, and I like that car a lot. This 560 went from 1986 to 1989, so these are the most desirable years, so I think, when it comes to Mercedes-Benz. Now, we see these all the time for, they can be $30,000 and bring a trailer, $25,000, $19,000, $18,000. You seldom see them in the $8,000, $9,000 range. So that's what caught my attention here. The seller seems like a legit person. He's got a 100% positive review, 398 things he sold on eBay. I'm not going to critique him as much as I'll critique the car. And I think I'll do that more often, is just critique the car, not always give you a top pick, So the bottom line, would I buy this car? No, because I wouldn't buy a car like this. It's true mileage unknown. It's 156,000 miles on the speedometer. The speedometer's broken. And even though I searched out private sellers, this person gives me the impression that he is a dealer or a flipper or something like that. That's not I don't think that is a New York State plate. He doesn't have any registration on the front windshield of the car. So I'm thinking he just picked this car up, brought it up this way. I don't know what he paid for it. But these are not inexpensive cars to restore. These are fairly expensive cars to dive into. So without maintenance history, without oil history, without an odometer working properly, he priced it well. He did price it with all those things in mind. So I give the man credit for that. But I think he's in the business. I get that sense that he's in the business and just looking to flip it. This car might have been a Southern car. It looks like it could have the original paint because the pinstripes are painted as they did back in the factory when the car came to the United States. They actually hand-painted these pinstripes at the dealer or at the port. It's got all the U.S. specification headlights and bumpers. Show you what a photo of this car looked like without those bumpers. Look at that. Sealed headlights, European headlights, small little bumpers. Isn't this the most beautiful car you've seen in a while? But then here in the United States, we had to get these big bumpers, but it is what it is. I mean, can't do anything about that, but it is legitimate. I mean, there was a lot of gray market cars came in. The reason that the 560 came out from Mercedes-Benz was everybody was bringing in the 5.0 liter SL from Germany to the United States. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people were doing it. And there were importing companies in Connecticut. I'm trying to think of the name of the company. I think it was called Amerispec. They were federalizing these cars and bringing them here. And that really ticked off the dealers here in the United States. And they put pressure on Germany to come out with a 5.6 liter V8 to compete with that 500 gray market car. And they did that successfully. So this 5.6 liter V8 really has a throaty sound and really gets up and goes. I mean, the car for me was never really a high-performance car. It was always just a static to be seen in type car, drive on the country roads and things like that. But it really was never a 0 to 60 car. But This car definitely, with this 5.6 liter engine, gets up and gets out of the way. So what's my critique on the car? Probably a very dry climate car. The dashboard is cracked. The seats are bleached. The top has been down for a while. I don't know what the top looks like. A lot of people just stored these cars with the tops hidden, put them in the garage, and don't use the tops that often, and then you know what happens to a convertible top after all that time. The hard top is a two-person process. It's so heavy. Matter of fact, they used to have an advertisement for this car with a crane for your garage so you can lower the top, put the top up and lower it. Some critique on the car, duct tape on the intake of the engine bay. I mean, that bothers me like crazy because that only demonstrates to me that if you're going to put duct tape on the air intake, what else did you duct tape during the ownership history of this car? So that's a big turnoff. I mean, if it was me trying to sell this car, I would try to source, a used piece there. I mean, it's not expensive to find. These are little pop rivets. You take that out, change that. I don't know. You spend less than $75 and you can make that look better. But without a service history, without an odometer that's working, these cars are expensive to repair. They're not overly difficult, but the parts and components are expensive. They had timing guide issues back then on most of their cars. They were plastic and brittle, and they can break apart. And once the guides broke, then you would have some slap in the chain drive, and you can skip a tooth and things like that. So again, maintenance history is kind of important. Yeah, and then that's my blow up of the duct tape. All the hoses original, all the belts original. Is the antifreeze been flushed? Has the brake system been flushed? There's the seats. They look like they're a little bleached because the tops were down all the time. So maybe a warm climate car. There's cracks in the dashboard. Here is the seller putting on his plate, probably bringing it home. So looking to flip this car. And this is why I don't like
Secure
that's
purchase
why I don't like eBay. It's almost like Auto Trader. It's become a consumer site. They're trying to sell you things. They're trying to sell you an auto check. They're trying to sell you to buy safely, secure purchase, all this nonsense. It used to be, when this site first came up in eBay in the early 2000s, it was a car lover's paradise. eBay was fantastic. First introduced auctions to the public like that. It was great. But now it's become so commercial. And even though you search for a private seller, I'm thinking this person's a wholesaler or somebody that, basically sells cars and flips titles and things like that. He might not be, so I'm not judging him, but he gives a nice, honest description, so he's cool with that, and he priced it really well, so I think the buyer's reputation is probably well earned because he sounds like he is legitimate and honest, but probably not a car I would buy. So here's my view on it. I would seek out an $18,000-$19,000 SL that's been cared for. Somebody in Florida owns the car, California or Arizona, and he's got a book loads of documentation, the MSRP, the window sticker. He's got service intervals when he did the oil. And yeah, it might need a little paint work, and the top might be a little bleached from the sun, but at least you're getting a solid car that if you put money into it, you can get money out of it. This car is one of those cars, the SLs, that I don't think you'll lose money with it. If you bought a $19,000 one, I think you'd be able to sell it for $29,000 5 years from now, because I think these cars will always have a following, especially those that are in nice condition. So I love my SLs. I've had like 3 of them, and I never had any problems with them except for, being on them for maintenance and things like that. I didn't have a timing guide issues, the timing chains and things like that. Most of my gremlins were electrical, was getting the air conditioning to work. Very, very difficult air conditioning system, especially when they get aged and old and the seals dry up, and it could drive you crazy to try to get the air conditioning systems. A lot of vacuum lines, just like any other luxury car from the 80s. But a lovely, lovely car. I love the SLs, but hunt down ones for $19,000, $25,000, buy it, care for it, and then when you get tired of it, sell it for even more money. That's my view on these cars. So there you go, folks. Welcome back to eBay. I'll try to find cars on eBay from time to time. But not a big fan, though. I'm not a fan of Facebook Marketplace, as you know. And I like hunting cars out where people are just putting cars on Craigslist or driving around and looking at local papers and things like that. That's where I find cars most of the time. So that's it, folks. Hope you enjoyed this quick episode on the Mercedes-Benz SL Class 560 on eBay for $9,000. You can make an offer. You can ask them, I'll give you $5,000. But even for $5,000, I'd stay clear of this car and find something that's much, much, much more of a pedigree with a service history and things like that. So thanks very much for joining us. I hope you liked this video. If you didn't like this video, I'll try harder on the next one. Have a great day. Stay dry. Be safe in the snow.